Punnet Square by Reuben Taylor. Alright, so I'm sure many of you are wondering what a Punnet Square is. Well, Punnet Square is one of the simplest ways to determine genotype. The square is actually a mini chart used to determine the potential genotype for an offspring with respect to a particular trait. Now, to create a Punnet Square, you have to draw a 2x2 grid. That's only the first step, so bear with me here. This is the easiest part so far. The second step is to write all the possible alleles across the top of the square for one parent and all the possible alleles for the other parent down the left-hand side. Each listed allele will become either a column for the top alleles or a row for the left side alleles inside the square. The square is filled in as you write down alleles from the top in their respective columns and then write down alleles from the side in their respective rows, creating a square full of potential genotypes. Showed in step 3, where you write down letters for each space's row and column, and step 4 for determining each potential offspring's genotype. Now, normally, dominant genes are written with capital letters and recessive genes are written with lowercase letters. Dominant genes trump recessive genes, so a genotype of uppercase R, lowercase r, has a phenotype of uppercase R. There are situations where it gets more complicated than that, however, especially when you're determining each potential offspring's phenotype. Knowing what the gene is and what sort of dominant recessive characteristics the different forms have is important. For example, some genes caused mixing instead of having dominance. A red flower might be uppercase R, and a white flower might be lowercase r. But an uppercase R, lowercase r flower might be pink. Every square, and thus every offspring, is equally likely. In other words, on a 2x2 grid, there is a 1/4 possibility for any of the 4 possibilities. And that's how you determine the probability of different phenotypes. The different combinations of allele represented on a Punnet square are called genotypes. And though genotypes represent genetic differences, the offspring won't necessarily turn out differently for each square.